maybe less than that, like a month and a few weeks or a couple weeks or something. I kind of figured, like, I remember thinking, well, if I find a job, if it takes me a couple weeks to get a job, and then they hold the first paycheck, and then they get paid, I was like, I'll miss this month's rent, and then the landlord won't want to renew the lease because I'll be, so it just, I figured in my head, like, if I don't make something happen soon, you know what I mean, like, it's just not, so I basically at that point decided to go back to the street life, committing crimes, I guess, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which, I was cool just working the job, because I did all that street shit for so long. It was like I was kind of over it, you know what I mean? I wanted to settle down, raise a family. But yeah, but then that all happened, and it was like now I'm out here committing crimes out of desperation, you know what I mean? Like, because I need to support my kids, you know what I mean? So yeah, basically, so I was thinking, like, I could sell drugs, but I didn't really want to do that because I moved to Knoxville and, like, started a family. So I wasn't, like, I didn't know a bunch of people in the streets and stuff. Like, I knew some drug dealers, but no, people to sell drugs to. So that was kind of out of the question. Man, I thought about I was thinking about robbing banks, anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're up against the wall with a newborn baby, like, I'm not going to be homeless, you know what I mean? So, but counterfeiting kind of seemed like the safest option, the easiest, just print money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And at that point, I met this dude at the sign company I was working at, and he told me he sold some weed and, like, a little bit of coke or whatever, but then he got fired from the sign company. I hadn't really talked to him again, and then I got fired. So now I'm on another friend that worked at the sign company basically just called me and was like, if you need any dope or whatever, call this dude. You know what I mean? So I called him one day and go over to his house, and he was like, he wasn't just selling weed. He had heroin, meth, coke, bottles of lean, fucking pills, and all sorts of shit, and a good amount of it. You know what I mean? So I was surprised. So I basically brought up to him, I'm fucked right now. I think I'm gonna start printing money again. If you wanna re-up, I'll give you these bills and you go re-up down in Atlanta with them. You know what I'm saying? We could work out some kind of deal, and he was cool with that. So I basically kind of just started this process of, like, and I had a recipe when I was 19, but I wanted to make them. I wanted to make bills that could not be detected, for the most part. So yeah, I kind of tweaked the methods I was using, experimented with different, like, makeups and stuff to make color shifting, pigments, and
And
all that.
what kind of printer did you have at that point?
At that point, just a regular shitty little Canon printer. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't, when I decided to start counterfeiting again, I was in this fucked up financial spot. You know what I mean? So I didn't have money to, like, invest in equipment, really.
Yeah.
But I'm a graphic designer, so, like, really, like, even your regular shitty printer is pretty good quality printer. It's more of the files that, you know what I'm saying, the digital images. So, like, I basically focused on making the digital images as sharp and clean as I could, which, even with the shitty $40, $50 printer at Walmart, like, you can, if the files are really high resolution and clean, then you can make them look good off of a shitty little printer, really. And the better printers you get, the even better. You know what I mean? Nowadays, inkjets are, you can, practically print micro printing on a $200-$300 printer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, shit.
That's what the Secret Service is, like, scrambling about. It's because now, like, just about anybody can print high quality looking bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you have, like, these recipes and, like, if you can beat the security features, the resolution of the prints isn't a problem anymore. You know what I mean? You used to need these big ass presses and, offset presses to get this fine resolution, but yeah, technology's gotten pretty crazy in the past 10, 15 years. So.
Yeah. Okay. Damn. And so once you meet the guy and you tell him you can start, you're going to start printing money again, how soon after do you, like, go into action or you start getting him the money?
Well, I went into action immediately, is like trying to, experiment with different ways and get these bills to look good. Like, but it probably took me, I'd say, a month to actually have like a finished product. You know what I mean? Because like the paper I was using when I was younger, like it couldn't deal with it. So I wanted to find a new type of paper to use, and I knew it needed to be thin to sandwich 2 sheets together, and I was having like a problem with the opacity of the paper, you know what I mean? So like tracing paper is a good thickness, but it's like translucent, you know what I mean? So you can't print a strip and a watermark on tracing paper, you know what I mean? Because you'll just see it right through the face of the bill.
Yeah.
It needs to be, the paper needs to be, you know, dark enough to where you can't see it through the bill, but if you hold it up to the light, you can see it, you know what I mean? So it has to be, have that good balance of opacity.
Yeah.
And just like randomly somehow, I forget how, I think I was just experimenting with every kind of paper I could find, you know what I mean? And eventually I stumbled across Bible paper. I mean, I was looking at like tissue paper, different toilet papers, the paper that toilet paper rolls are packaged in, fucking, you know, wrapping paper, just everything, you know, any kind of thin paper, I'd test it and see. But eventually I found Bible paper, the thin paper and Bibles.
Yeah.
And it worked perfectly. I mean,
Really?
for everything, you know what I mean? Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
And so when you found the paper, I mean, how many papers at that point had you tested? Like, I know you said a bunch, like it was
countless, bro.
Really?
Countless. I mean, basically for that first whole month, and even after that, I'd still do this, but like at least that month, every single day, that was my mission. You know what I mean?
Figure out
to
what paper.
I would go to makeup sections to look for different color shifting, nail polishes, holographic stuff, you know, just to experiment and find what works, what doesn't. So like going to makeup sections, art stores, craft stores, bookstores, just everything, looking for paper and certain kinds of makeup to do. Because I knew like how to, you know, print the strip and the watermark wasn't an issue. I knew you just printed it. The problems were basically the color shifting ink and the paper I would use. So those two things were on my mind. I was just all day, every day, constantly editing these images on the computer and going to the store looking for different types of paper and makeups and paints and, you know.
Yeah.
So, but eventually I found the Bible paper, and it worked perfect for everything I needed it to. And I stumbled across this type of eyeshadow. It's a holographic eyeshadow, but it's really just like a color shifting pigment, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I found that too, and like basically everything kind of just fell into place. And I eventually printed it on this Bible paper, used the makeup, did all this stuff, and it like I finally had something that was good, you know what I mean? And I knew it. So at that point, yeah, I was. But before I kind of found all this for the hundreds, I was selling my drug dealer friend 20s.
Oh,
so he could just go re-up.
So the 20s were easier to make?
Well, yeah, at that point, I wasn't putting strips and watermarks in the 20s. Like, I was just getting a good cotton paper and printing them, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And because he was mixing in these 20s with, like, however much, probably like 10, 20,000 worth of real money, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To go to Atlanta to re-up. So, like, I just give him envelopes with, like, $5,000 in fake 20s, and he'd mix it in with all this real money. And, you know what I'm saying, I don't know. Maybe he never told me he got caught by his people, but I'm sure they eventually found out, cause you know what I mean? But,
yeah.
But so I was selling him these 20s. I finally get this recipe for the hundreds. Like, I figure out, okay, this Bible paper works, all this shit. And then, like, literally, like, within a week, like, I figure out this recipe for these hundreds, and then my dude gets arrested. The police raid his house for selling dope, you know what I mean? And they found counterfeit money in his house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that wasn't their reason for being there. But yeah, one of his charges was possession of counterfeit money. So I was like, you know, fuck. I don't have anybody to sell these to, but I've got this recipe. I got these hundreds looking good, you know what I mean? So at that point, my lease was up. So me and my wife and kids go stay in a hotel. And I didn't have anybody to sell these hundreds to, so I started fucking breaking them myself, which sucked. I didn't want to do that, you know what I mean? But yeah, again, like, I wasn't really making money at this point. Like, I just, you know what I'm saying? I was getting by, selling them the 20s, whatever. But then he gets arrested, and I was like, I had like $1,000, if that, to my name. So we just get a hotel, and that lasted a few days. And then it was like, okay, now I'm desperate again. So I started just going to stores, you know what I mean?
So
Breaking these hundreds.
you didn't take the money and then pay for the hotel?
Mm-mm.
Or you were?
No, with fake money?
Yeah.
Hell no. In fact, that's a funny story. Like, see, I mean, obviously you put a hotel on your name, you know what I mean? If you give them fake money, that's just not, you know, a good idea. One hotel I was staying at, I was staying at this hotel with this drug dealer that I was fucking with. This is years later, you know, or like a year later. But, and I think I gave him like a sample 100 or something, like to show him. And what was it? I forget exactly. Basically, and I knew the person that worked the front desk at this hotel. She came up to me and was like, man, I got a fake $100 bill. Or like she mentioned it to me, that she received one. And I was like, motherfucker, because I'm staying at this hotel. So like, even though somebody else paid for the room with this fake bill, like it's still, I'm at this hotel. Like, I don't want this heat. You know what I mean? It fucked me up. So I even took it from her. I was like, here, I'll fucking pay you. Here's $100. Just give me that. You know what I mean? I just didn't want the police to get involved or anything. So, but yeah, that kind of fucked me. I never used, I didn't even like to buy cigarettes or anything with a fake $100 bill, just because you have to show them your ID. You know what I mean? Because if you know,
they
got show them your ID,
paper trail.
Yeah, they just see your name. Sometimes they scan your ID. I don't know if there's a record of that, or you know what I'm saying. So I was always really cautious about, you know, being anonymous when I'm breaking bills. For sure.
Thank you for tapping in with us. In order to see more clips like this, check out this video here or check out this one here.